Hi friends, welcome back. Myself Amit. So I am here with the continuation of RCC topic, where in the today's lecture series I am going to take the codal specification. So why codal specification is very important? See, as per the examination point of view, that is mainly on the competitive examination point of view, codal specification which is present in IS 456 2000 is very important. Most of the question from the RCC topic they will directly ask from the codal specification. So it is very important to remember the codal specifications with respect to reinforced cement concrete. Fine. Yeah, one more thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain you the codal specification which for every topics. Whenever I complete each and every topic, the codal specification which is relating to the particular topic, I'm going to give the codal specification. See, we have completed the limit state design with respect to the singly reinforced beams. So what are all the codal specification which is relating to this particular topic? I had mentioned the codal specification. That is how I am going to take the lecture series. So let me come to the first. That is for the particular grade of the steel, what is the value of XU max by the effective depth? For Fe250, what is the value of XU max to the effective depth? This is 0.53. For Fe415 steel, it is 0.48, and Fe500 it is 0.46. These are the three grade of the steel which is mentioned in IS 456 2000. But what about Fe550? This is not mentioned in the code book, but this was the question which was asked in KPSC examination in 2000, which was conducted in 2017, that is irrigation department examination. For this type of questions, what you need to know is you need to know the concept. In the previous lecture series, we had analyzed, we had derived the thing with respect to the codal specification, with respect to the grade of the steel, what is the value of XU max divided by D. Let me revise you once again. We have taken this singly reinforced beam. For that, we have taken the strain diagram. For this strain diagram, I had written one equation. This is the very important equation by which we can calculate the value. This is the equation which we have derived with respect to the strain diagram relating to singly reinforced beam. By making use of the similar triangle concept for strain diagram, I had done the equation. So in this equation, I had substituted the different grade of the steel. You can see there is a grade of the steel which is mentioned is Fy, and Young's modulus of the steel. Young's modulus of the steel is constant, that is 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square. The variable thing is grade of the steel. In the first condition, I have taken the grade of the steel as Fy is equal to 250 Newton per mm square. So if we substitute the Fy, the value of Fy is equal to 250 Newton per mm square in this equation, the value of XU max in terms of the effective depth, that is 0.53. In the second condition, Fy I had taken it as 415, it is 0.48. If I take Fy500, it is again 0.46. Okay, that is what we have derived. Okay, you need to know the concept. Sometimes what happens, most of the times, without knowing the concept, some of the students is going to mug up these three things. But in some examination, in order to increase the level of the questions, what they will ask, they will come one step forward. They will ask Fe550, like that. In that situation, you need to remember this equation. Now in this equation, I am going to substitute the value of Fy as 550 Newton per mm square, and remaining things remains the constant. I need to find the value of XU max to the effective depth. What is the value? Please substitute this value in the above equation and do comment me in the comment section what is the value of XU max to the effective depth. That will be a practice for you. Please do comment me in the comment section. This is the first codal specification with respect to the grade of the steel. What is the value of XU max to the effective depth? All these concepts has been explained in the previous lecture series, as well as the derivation has been done in the previous lecture series. Okay, first thing, let me come to the second thing. How will you find the effective span of the beam? Let me know the difference. One is L center and L clear. Let me take this as a simply supported beam. What you can see here, one is beam, and let me take this as column number 1 and this is the column number 2. The distance between the center of the two columns is called as L center. That is center to center, which is I had mentioned it as L center. Second one is the clear span. Clear span is nothing but inside to inside. The inside to inside distance between the two columns is called as clear span, and center to center span is called as center to center between the two columns, which is present here. This is the two difference. In order to find the effective span of a beam, we need to make use of this equation, that is L effective is equal to either L center to center distance or L clear plus D. What is D? D is nothing but the effective depth. Don't get confused. I had already written it here. This is the effective depth and it is the overall depth. If I take a beam like this, singly reinforced beam, and this is the reinforcements which is present here. If we can write this from here to here, this is represented in terms of small d, which is called as effective depth, and from top to bottom of the beam it is called as, let me written it as capital D, which is called as overall depth. That is the difference. But here one is L center or the clear span between the two columns plus effective depth. In these two values, after getting these two values, which is the less of these two values will be over the effective depth in case of simply supported beam. This is the question, the most repeated question in KPSC examination. Okay, please remember this thing. And second one is cantilever beam. Cantilever beam is fixed at one end and free at other end. In this is the clear span from here to here. This is the clear span and this is the effective depth and this is the overall depth. The L effective in case of cantilever beam is L clear, that is this distance L clear plus effective depth divided by 2. This is also most repeated question in the KPSC examination and all other competitive examination. And yeah, this effective span is very important in the examination point of view. So one note, it may be useful for solving the MCQs and very important. In cantilever beams, reinforcement is provided at the top. See, if I take the normal beam, okay, if I take the normal beam, I'll write the neutral axis. Here the reinforcements will be provided. This is normal beam or simply supported beam like that. So at the top portion is called as tension zone. Sorry, I am very sorry. The top portion is called as compression zone. And the bottom portion is called as tension zone. Okay, this is in case of normal beams. But in case of cantilever beam like this, what happens? The reinforcement is provided at the top. That is, here see, we have in the normal simply supported beam, we have provided the reinforcement at the bottom. So it is the bottom portion is called as tension zone and the top portion is called as compression zone. But in case of cantilever beam, what happens? We are going to provide the reinforcement at the top. Okay, this is reinforcement. I'm sorry, just a minute. Yeah, in case of this, what happens? You're going to provide the reinforcement at the top. So if I take a section for this cantilever beam, you're going to provide the reinforcement at the top. If I draw a neutral axis like this, so the top portion is called as tension zone and the bottom portion is called as compression zone. This is what the variation is going to take place. Please make a comparative analysis between this one and this one. You can see in case of simply supported beam, let me take, in case of simply supported beam, the compression zone is provided at the top and the reinforcement is provided at the bottom, so tension zone is going to come at the bottom. But in case of cantilever beam, what happens, it is exactly ulta. That is, we are going to provide the reinforcement at the top and it is called as tension zone, and at the bottom it is called as compression zone. That is the difference between these two things. Most of the time this will be asked in the MCQs. Please remember these things. That is what the note have given, where in case of cantilever beam, reinforcement occurs at the top. I had explained you these things. Okay, this is the difference between the effective depth. See here, the reinforcement will be given at the bottom. In case of simply supported beam, the reinforcement is given at the bottom, but in case of cantilever beam, you can see the reinforcement is provided at the top. So at the top it is called as tension zone in the cantilever beam, but in case of simply supported beam, bottom is called as tension zone. Please make a comparative analysis between these two things. Fine, let me move on to the next details. Next comes here is the reinforcement details. So what is tension reinforcement, you know. Okay, minimum tension reinforcement. How to find the minimum tension reinforcement? It is for minimum tension reinforcement, the AST minimum, that is AST is nothing but the area of the steel minimum divided by B into D, which is equal to 0.85 divided by Fy. So let me take one beam like this and I am going to provide the reinforcement. In order to find the AST, area of the steel in minimum, what is the minimum area of the steel that you are going to provide? In order to find this, you need to make use of this equation. So what is B? B is nothing but width of the beam. And what is D? D is nothing but effective depth. Don't get confused. This is the effective depth, and if I take from here to it is the total depth. But here width is B and small d, we are using small d, which is called as effective depth, which is equal to 0.85 divided by Fy. What is the value of Fy? Fy is nothing but the, let me write here, Fy is grade of the steel. So what are all the grade of the steel? Either it may be 415, either it may be 500 or 550, or in case of mild steel it is 250, where everything is Newton per mm square. This is how we are going to find the minimum tension reinforcement. Sometimes in the examination they will ask directly the value, how to find the minimum tension reinforcement. This is what you need to remember. Sometimes they will ask, they will give you the problem. Let me solve the problem later. Then what is the maximum tension reinforcement? That is this same AST max. What is the maximum reinforcement that you have to give? Okay, you have to give the reinforcement in such a way that it should be minimum of something value and it should be maximum of that value. It should be between these two values. That means it should not become too much less or it should not become too much more. It should be in between these two things. Okay, maximum tension reinforcement is 4% of the gross area. This is most repeated MCQ. Okay, this 4%, they have asked many a times in the examination this thing. Then minimum percentage of the steel. How will you find the minimum percentage of the steel is very important. Minimum percentage of the steel is P minimum, which is equal to 100 AST minimum divided by BD. How will you find the 100 AST minimum? AST minimum can be found by this, making use of this equation divided by BD. Also, you can directly write the equation which is equal to 0.85 divided by Fy into 100. Okay, these are the two equations to find the value of minimum percentage of the steel. Okay, this is area of the steel. Don't get confused. This is area of the steel. This is percentage of the steel with respect to the area of the column. Area of the beam. Fine. Let me come to the problem here. So they have given one example problem. HYSD grade steel. What is the value of the grade of the steel? They have given Fe415. Let me take the value of Fy is equal to 415. Of course, it will be Newton per mm square. That is what the unit of grade of the steel. What is the minimum percentage of the steel? They are asking. For the formula for a minimum percentage of the steel is equal to P minimum. So P minimum, this is, I am going to write this one. P minimum. What is the P minimum is equal to AST minimum divided by B into D into 100, or we have another equation which is equal to 0.85 divided by Fy, Fy into 100. So which is the relevant equation to find the value? We know 0.85 divided by what is the value of Fy. They have given the value of Fy, it is equal to 415 into 100. It comes to be somewhere, it comes to be 0.205 percentage. This is what the minimum percentage of the steel that we are going to provide. If in the question, instead of grade of the steel, if they have given the value of AST minimum, the value of B and the value of D, in this condition you would have used this equation. But according to the question, they have given directly the grade of the steel, so you are going to make use of this equation. Please remember this equation also. Sometimes in the question, if they are asking the value of AST minimum, B and D, then you have to make use of this equation. Then minimum percentage of the steel. Fine. Next one is cover requirements. First of all, what is cover? Okay, cover is nothing but, I'll just show you here. If I am taking a beam like this, okay, we are going to provide the reinforcement. So since we are providing the reinforcement here, the reinforcement is provided by leaving some distance from the bottom. This is what we are going to give the cover. If I take some longitudinal section here, the beam, longitudinal section of the beam, we are going to provide the reinforcement like this. But there is a distance that some of the cover distance we have to give, which is called as cover. So what is the reason for everything, not only for the beams, for the columns, for the footings, and for the slabs, for everywhere you are going to leave the cover space for providing the reinforcement. The reason for providing the reinforcement in order to increase the durability condition of the structure. So what happens in case, I'll just take it as a beam. Well, it as a beam. Without leaving the cover area, if you are going to give the reinforcement at the bottom of the beam, what happens? The beam and the reinforcement is exposed to the atmosphere. Since it is exposed to the atmosphere, it is subjected to the air and subjected to the air, water and everything. Because of this, the corrosion of the steel is going to take place. That is the reason it has to be embedded inside the concrete. It is packed inside the concrete. That is the reason we are going to give the cover. It is based on the, what is the purpose of giving the cover requirement. They will ask in the MCQs. The main purpose of giving the cover requirements is to increase the durability of the structure. In order to make the reinforcement free from the atmospheric condition, we are going to give the cover. Next, purpose, to have the proper bond between the concrete and the steel. See here, if you are providing the reinforcement at this point, there will be a proper bonding everywhere to the steel with the concrete. But in case of this, what happens? The only one portion is going to get bond with the concrete, at the bottom portion is not subjected to the bond. That is the reason we are going to give the cover, in order to give the proper bond between the concrete as well as steel, to protect the reinforcement against corrosion. Already I told you, if you are going to give the reinforcement at the bottom, it is subjected to the atmosphere, where it is subjected to the air and water. The steel is going to get corrode quickly. That is the reason it has to be sandwiched inside the concrete. That is the reason we are going to give you the cover. Some of the conditions you have to remember with respect to the condition. If the condition with respect to the atmospheric condition, if it is mild, you have to give you the cover requirement is 25 mm. In the moderate condition, we have to give 30. Severe, very severe and extreme condition. What is mild, moderate, severe, very severe and extreme severe, I am going to explain you in the next upcoming lecture series. But as of here, please remember this thing. So what is the cover? In case of slabs, we are going to give you the cover is 20 mm. In case of beam, the cover is 25 mm. In case of column it is 40 mm. In case of footing it is 50 mm. These are the 4 things you need to remember, and these things I will explain you in detail in the upcoming lecture series. Where is the mild condition? Extreme condition you can see in the exactly at the underwater construction, like that there are some of the conditions. Very severe means it is in the coastal condition, like some condition is going to come with respect to IS 456. I am going to explain you in detail in the upcoming lecture series. As of now, please remember the exposure condition as well as what is the cover. Here also in cover with respect to exposure condition, what is the structure with respect to the cover. Next, side face reinforcement. Normally, if I take a beam like this, we are going to provide the reinforcement at the bottom in case of singly reinforced beam. In case of doubly reinforced beam, what happens? We'll give the reinforcement in the bottom as well as top. But the side face reinforcement, where we are going to give the side face reinforcement? Side face reinforcement is given in the deep beams. Which beams is called as deep beams? When the depth of the beam exceeds the value of 750 mm. That is, if I take a beam like this, if the depth of the beam, that is overall depth of the beam, exceeds the value 750 mm, these type of beams is called as deep beams. In case of the deep beams, in addition to this, we are going to give the side face reinforcement. Since it has a overall depth is highest, we are going to provide the side face reinforcement. The side face reinforcement I am going to show it here in the yellow mark. See, this is the side face reinforcement, has to be given here at an angle 45 degree. This is what you need to remember. Sometimes in the MCQs, how the question is going to arise, the first question they are going to, when the beam is called as deep beams, what should be the depth? First question. The depth, if the depth of the beam is more than 750 mm, it is called as deep beams. Second question. When the side face reinforcement is given in the beams, when the beam is going to deep, that is when the depth of the beam is more than 750 mm, we are going to provide a side face reinforcement. What is the angle with respect to the vertical you are going to give the side face reinforcement? The angle is 45 degree. These are the 3 questions most of the times they're going to ask with respect to analysis point of view. Okay, then side face reinforcement should provide along 2 faces, both the faces. Okay, not only single faces. This is one face and this is the second face. In both the faces you are going to provide the side face reinforcement. Next, what is the area of the reinforcement that you are going to provide in case of deep beams? That is 0.1% of the rectangular area. That is area of the reinforcement. Area of the side face reinforcement in this condition is 0.1% of B into depth. See, here they are telling overall depth. Okay, 1% of the rectangular area. Rectangular area here, in order to, when you are finding out the value of deep beams, you need to make use of overall depth. But in the previous equations and all we have studied, in order to find the EST minimum and all, we have seen they have given the effective depth. But in case of side face reinforcement, don't get confused. Here we are using overall depth of the beam. In case of cantilever beam, 1% into web area. Okay, this is also most repeated question in KPSC examination. All these specification, whatever all the specification I have given, all these questions has been arrived in the KPSC examination. Please mark up all these things. And in case of spacing in case of this, it should be less than 300 mm. Okay, each and every specification what I have told, it was asked in the competitive examination. Please remember all the things. So that's all, guys. So after this I am going to solve the MCQs, more than 30 to 40 MCQs I am going to solve with respect to the particular topic, which will be very much useful for your examination. After completing this, I am going to start a new content, that is doubly reinforced section. Whatever we have studied till now It is mainly based on the singly reinforced beam. In the next upcoming lecture series, I am going to start the doubly reinforced beam only after solving the MCQs. That's all guys. Fine. Please join my Telegram channel where I am going to share the lecture series, where I am going to share the PDFs, important MCQs, which is given in the description column. Thank you one and all. Bye bye.